we have two transformations called row sampling. So this we haven't discussed, right, Sai? We didn't discuss about these things, right? Row sampling and percentage sampling.
Yes.
Okay. So row sampling, and the second transformation is percentage sampling. Okay. So using row sampling, what we can do is, let us say we can pick some sample rows, random rows. So out of 1,000 records, you want to pick 100 people. That means 100 rows you want. Then you can go for row sampling. Or else,
Sir, I couldn't see the screen.
oh, okay, sorry. Okay, is it fine now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So row sampling and percentage sampling, we have two things. So row sampling in the sense like we have 1,000 rows. Okay, so out of 1,000 employees, I want to pick 100 employees. That means 100 rows you want to pick. Or else I want to give 100 employees. I want to give. I want to pick 100 employees records out of 1,000. So then, what is the percentage? 10%. So if you want to go for row sampling, there you will go for you will specify the row count. If you want to go for a percentage sampling, then you can go for their percentage. Give the percentage, how much percentage of rows that you want to pick. So let us see how to achieve that. Before going to that, let me connect to the database. The tables. What the table that we can pick is employee. Let's take the employee table. Let's start from. We have some 292 rows. Let's pick some data to achieve this. So go to the project. Let me create one package. First, let us see about row sampling. That means how to pick the rows. So take one data flow task. Open the data flow task. Pick one source, OLEDB source, and pick one destination, OLEDB destination. Let us see what is the source that we are going to connect. So take the source, and what is the table that we want to take? Employee. These are all the columns that we have. Click on OK. We have a transformation called row sampling. Okay, take the row sampling transformation. Give the connection from source to destination. Open that row sampling. There specify the number of rows. How many rows you want? Okay, I want to pick 100 rows. Then I'll go for number of rows. Pick the 100 rows. So click on OK. So from source you are getting number of rows. Okay, let us assume what is the total number of rows, like around 300 rows that we are getting from source. And out of that you want to pick 100 rows. Then what about the other 200 rows? That will be remain same. That means this row sampling will gives two outputs. Let us say one once we connect to the output from row sampling to the OLEDB destination. One second, give me a moment. Yeah, sorry. So once we get the output from row sampling to destination, it will ask you for the output, input and output selection. So row sampling will generate two outputs. So one is selected output and another one is unselected output. So selected output means, so whatever the rows that we are going to select, so 100 rows that we want to select. So that is coming to selected output. The remaining rows goes to unselected output. So that is not required for us. So then we will select this selected output. Click on OK and then go to the destination. Load the data into the destination table. Click on OK. Go to the mapping, map the things, everything. So if you don't go for the mapping, then it won't give OK. So just click on OK, save it, execute the package. Okay, so 100 rows, it's been loading. This is what about row sampling. Okay, so go back and check your data if you want. Tables. Row sampling data, yes. So you will get the rows, whatever the specified number of rows. Okay, so that is about row sampling. So the general scenario where we get this sampling data means if the the management level or any other people, like they want to pick the some random data. Okay, or else in source systems like they have millions of records. So in that case, instead of giving all the records to the development purpose, so what sometimes they will do is they will pick some sample data. Okay, so like for that purpose, like we can go for the sampling transformations. So let us see about the percentage sampling. Let me disable. Take me one data flow task. percentage sampling, open the percentage sampling data flow task, pick the source, go to the destination, and in that take your source, pick the columns, and then go here and pick the percentage sampling. Take percentage sampling, give the connection. The same thing, but here what you need to specify is just give the percentage of rows. What percentage of the rows that you want to pick. There you are giving the number of rows, here you are giving the percentage of rows. This one will also give the two outputs. One is selected and another one is unselected. Go for selected and click on OK. Go to the new, pick the table. Go to the mappings. Click on OK and then save it. Okay, so the nearest percentage of rows, like it's around 292 rows, like it's around 300 rows, right? So out of that, like it's picking the 30 rows and then loading the data into the destination. Okay. So you got the rows. So like these are the simple transformations, but just have an idea on this transformation, like what is the percentage sampling and what is the row sampling. So apart from that, we have a concept called, let us say, we have dimensions in our data warehouse. Okay, so some of the dimensions like may not change every time. Let us say if you take cash payments, sorry, payments dimension. Okay, we have one dimension called payments. Dimension payments. So in that, what we are having the data is different payment types: cash, credit card, debit card payment, or else any wallet payment. Okay, so likewise we are having different values. So these values, there won't be, scope of any, there won't be any scope to change these values. Every time this will be remains same. So this is nothing but a never changing dimension. Okay, for example, we have some dimensions called customer dimensions. Customer dimensions. So in that, what will be the customer information, like customer ID, okay, customer name, customer phone number, okay, customer customer email, customer address. So customer ID. So at the time of entering the data into the database from source system, I mean in the source system, they will assign one customer ID. Customer name, they will give the customer name and customer phone, customer email and customer address. So the customer ID will be like 1326, and the customer name is like it is John. Okay, customer name is John, and customer phone is like 60999, and customer email ID is some, and customer okay, customer address is some, he is from Hyderabad, something like that. Okay, so later some point of time, there might be a chance of change the phone number for the customer. Okay, so or else there might be a chance of changing the customer email ID, or else customer may change his location. Okay, so whenever any information is changing for the customer, that we need to capture in our database. Okay, so this is called like changing dimensions. But in capturing I mean the changes, we have two things. One is replacing already existing data. Okay, replacing already existing data. Replacing in the sense like the phone number is 60999 now. What is the phone number? The new phone number. So the phone number is changed. Then what I have to do is I have to replace this phone number with the new one. So new phone number will be some this. So in that case, whatever the old data that is having, it is removing, and in place of that, we are getting the new data. Similarly, customer name is some John, okay, or else Johnny. So there might be some spelling mistake. So at the time of entering the name, like this name has been entered like as JONNY, but the actual name is JOHNY. Okay, if the customer is feels like there is a spelling mistake in his name, then he will raise the request. One second. He will raise the request, and he will ask for to change the name. In that case, whatever the name, the earlier the name is Johnny, and now I want to replace the name with this new spelling. Okay, so in that case, like whatever the data that we are having, so that is completely erasing, and it is replacing with the new data. Okay, and the second case is, so if you replace the data, then what is this? Copy, and this is what the new record. The second case is, this is what the actual record. So what we do is, if you want to what we call uh, get the latest data, then what we do is we will maintain one more record in the database, and whatever the changes, let us say in place of JONNY, it is JOHNY, and in place of 60999, it is 340999, and we will specify this one as a active record. Okay, so this will goes to 0, and we will maintain a flag 0 and 1. We will maintain one more column as flag, and in the flag we will maintain zeros and ones, like whatever the active record, it is 1, and whatever the inactive records, that means whatever the old record, that is go to 0. Okay, so this is called as new record, maintaining new record. So these are the two things that we do for dimension changes. Okay, so if you go for replacement, then the change is called as type 1 changing. If you go for creating a new record, that is called as type 2 changing. Okay, So the entire concept, the changing dimension concept, whatever the thing that we are having, right? Here we are capturing the changes in the dimension. It's called as slowly changing dimensions, SCDs.
Sir, actually, how many types there are? I have read like there are three types: SCD1, SCD2, SCD3,
SCD
like fixed, historical, and changing. Am I
change.
correct?
Yeah. Actually, the SCD type 3, we can achieve through SQL development. But SCD type 3, that we don't have the transformation. In the transformation, like we can achieve SCD type 1 and SCD type 2. That means
Okay.
type 1, that means in type 1, we are just replacing. In type 2, what we do is we go for maintaining the historical information. Okay.
Yes, yes, yeah.
So likewise. So in this,
Historical in the sense as you said, like
yeah,
a candidate may change the players,
right.
and we need to maintain the record of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So likewise. So that
Okay.
means whatever the old information that we want to have, instead of erasing the information, what we do is we will just give a flag. That means active or inactive to know the status of the uh, uh, what we call the latest data. We will maintain some flag. Okay. So in SCD, to achieve this thing, like we have a SCD transformation, slowly changing dimension. Slowly changing dimension. So what type of what we call changes that you want to capture is purely depend on the customer requirement. Okay. So in some cases, to be frankly, whatever the customer systems that have been built, or else 10 years back, or else 15, 20 years back, those are all the old systems. So in that time, there is no point of predictive analysis, or else business intelligence type of concept. So at that moment, like they have simply created the databases, and as per their business structure, they have built the what we call their source systems. And in their source systems, they are unable to, in some cases, like they are unable to capture these kind of changes. So in source system, what will happen is, end of the day, any change comes over there, that will be going to replace. Okay. So but they are unable to maintain the historical information. But while coming to the data warehouse, at the time of implementation, we will get all the what we call all the customer data, and if any changes happen, then the customer will ask us to capture that change as well. So in that case, we will have the information whatever existed in their source system already, and whatever the new change come over there, what we do is we will keep the old record in our data warehouse as is, and we will insert one more record for the what we call a new change. So that will help to help to do any kind of analysis in a future. Okay. So let us see how to implement that. Save this. cd1 check one source. So before going to that, let us see what is the table that we are having. Okay, so we have some data in our this table. So let me connect to the OIDB source. Employee test. Check SCD, slowly changing dimension. Open the slowly changing dimension. Click on next. There, pick your destination table. So let us say, let me create one destination table. Select star into. Select star from SCD. So empty structure we got. So what we do is now pick your table, go to the employee test. Here specify what is our key. Like in employee table, the generally the employee ID will be the key column. Okay, so take the employee ID, which is nothing but the business key. Okay, so key column in the sense it will be primary key. Here we can call it as a business key. Click on next. There, what type of I mean here we are implementing SCD type 1. So what you are going to do? So let us say what are the rest of the dimension columns. Employee department, there might be chance of change. Okay, that means at the, I mean like whenever you are joining into a company as a developer you can join, but later some point of time you will your designation will increase like software senior software technical lead, after that a manager. Okay, senior manager. So likewise that means from a developer to the next department, that means a managing department. Okay, management level that you are moving, so there might be a chance of changing the attribute. So employee designation, there is 100% scope to change. And the employee salary 100% you can I mean the scope of changing this attribute. Okay, so after that go to next. That means here change all the matching records including outdated records when changes are detected in a changing attributes. That means it might be type in the destination table. If you have multiple records, let us say if you implement SCD type 2, we will get multiple records. So here what is asking is we want to change all the information for a employee if you found any change. Okay, so for now like I'm not going to do any kind of changes, let it be as is. And inferior member support, so just uncheck this. So what is this inferior member means? In data warehouse what is our thumb rule is load dimensions first and then facts next. Okay, that means loading the primary keys first, dimensions first, facts next. Okay, that means dimensions will contain primary keys, facts will contain foreign keys. Okay, so in some cases, like there might be a scope of loading the facts first due to some implementation mistakes or else any other kind of mistakes in SSIS, well, the developer mistakes, there might be a chance of loading the data, fact data first. So in that case, whatever the data that we are having, let us say in earlier the departments, we have 5 departments in our organization: finance, management, development and operations, and some other sports department. Okay, so for all those 5 departments we have fact data, but later some point of time we thought like there is no use of sport department, and I have included the sports department into operations. So in that case I will have 4 departments only. So earlier whatever the data that is pointing to the sports data in the fact, that should goes to operations. Okay, when I'm going for the next execution, but due to some mistake, like fact data is loading first. Okay, so whatever the sports data, whatever the data that is related to sports foreign keys, that will be remain same, and in the dimension the sports record will be replaced with the operation. That means like we are have only 4 records. So in that case, the fact records will the whatever the fact records without having a primary key, proper primary key pointing, those records we called as inferred members. So you want to consider those records as well. So if you enable this if enable this option, that means like you are going to capture those records as well. So for now there is no requirement of capturing those records. Just uncheck, go to next, and then finish. Okay, so it will take the it will automatically take the insertion destination and the update OLEDB update as well. So it looks like just a kind of a lookup. In lookup, what we do, we will take one lookup in place of the slowly changing dimension, and if you found any new record, then you will go for insert, and if you go for any existing record, you go for the updating the records. The similar manner the SCD type 1 will act. So for now, it's a new thing, right? So that's why all the 4 records has been inserted into the destination. So let us change the source data and then see. Update, set. So I want to change the employee designation. Okay, employee designation to some P, principal engineer, where employee ID is employee ID equal to some 1 or 2. Okay, so and home. So we have for 1 or 2, we have a principal engineer in designation in source, and it is senior, I mean SE in destination. So if you execute this package now, that will change, that will be replaced. Okay, so there is no new output. So only one change. So that is going to updating the command. I mean updating the record. Let us execute this. See, PE came into the destination. Okay, that means we are just replacing the data. If you go for SED type 2, what will happen is take one data flow task, open that, take your source, Click on OK, and then go to the transformation, pick your SCD. So let me take the same destination table. Okay, specify your key, employee ID. Next. So what are the information that you want to make them as a history? Let us say I am changing the designation, right? So I want to keep the thing as a history. Why? Because like in some cases, so once you join the company, the management will capture the information like when he joined in the company. So later some point of time, like at the time of appraisal, what is his last designation? So when he got his last designation, and what is the time period, and if it is like more than 2 years, like we have to change the designation, then they will check for the what we call a time period based on your joining date. Okay, and if it is more than 2 years, like they will go for a changing the designation like that. Okay, so likewise, like we will go for a, let's say we will take this one as a historical information. Go to next. Here, how you are going to capture the history, I mean that historical information. There is a two options, like one is use a single column to show current and expired records. That means in the destination table, like we will maintain one column. Let us say this is what our destination, right? Here, alter table, table name, add. I will create one column like active flag as integer. So I create one column. So whatever the changes, like historical information that you want to maintain, like how I told you, right? Like in a single column, I'll just capture the values to identify what is the latest one and what is the old one. So you want to use a single column. Yes, I want to use the single column. And what is the value when current? That means if it is a new record, I will go for 1. And what is the expiration value? If it is a old record, I will go for 0. And the second thing is like use start date and end dates to identify current and expired records. That means we will have a start date column and end date column, two columns, and we'll maintain the start date and end date. Whenever any new record will comes, then it will pick the end date. I mean, at the what at the time of execution, it will pick the end date and then capture the end date. So likewise, here we are going to capture the changes information into a flag column. That means we are using a single column. So what is the column that you want to pick? Here it is not reflected. Let's just go back and refresh it again. You get the column, right? Yes. Now you can get the column that you want to insert. So active flag. Click on next and then uncheck this for now. Next, finish. See, it will automatically build the package for you. So it will derive a column. So it's deriving a column. Which column it is deriving? Active flag, and it is updating. And then unioning the data, something it is doing here. Going to a derived column, and then finally inserting the data into the destination. Okay, so let us see. Let me truncate the data first in the target table. table truncated. So empty now. Let's go back and save the data, execute the package. So since no row is going to updating, why? Because altogether the fresh load. So every record is going to the insertion. 4 records going for the insertion. Records has been inserted now. So now what I will do is, so employee designation. I will change the employee designation as senior manager for employee 103 in the source. Sorry. Okay, one row has been updated. So in the source for 103, it is senior manager. So let us see how it will work. One row is getting updated and one row is getting inserted. Okay, so let's see. See here for 103, we already have the data. Okay, and this is called, this is the old record. So it is looking for 103 and it's looking for the designation. So manager, earlier it is manager and it is treating this one as a old record, and as per our specification we it is maintaining that one as a 0, and it's trying to insert the new record with the new designation, and this will act as a active record as specified as a 1. Okay, so end of the day, while getting the reports, while building the report, what we can do is like, if you want to get all the records. Okay, so you can pick all the records where I mean select star from table name. But if you want to pick only the active records, then we can just give the where class where active flag equal to 1. Then you will get only the active records. Okay, so likewise, the SCD will work. Like which type of SCD that you want to do is like based on the customer requirement. Before like loading the data into the dimension table, you will build the package. So at the time of building the package, you have to query the source database, what type of data it is having. Okay, so they will ask you to load the dimension data into this particular table. So and this table should have these columns, these many columns, this information from the source. So you have to pick the data from the source, you have to check the data from the source. Okay, and if it is a changing kind of thing, let us say it is a customer information. Okay, so customer information may change at any time. Okay, so customer phone number change, email change, or else any kind of changes will happen. So based on that, like you need to tell the customer like what type of changes that you want to capture. You want to maintain historical information as well, or else is it fine if you go for straight away updating. So customer is fine with straight away updating, then we go for SCDs, SCD type one, or else instead of going for SCD dimension implement, I mean transformation, straight away you can use lookup and load the data. Or else if you go for SCD type 2, then you can use the SCD transformation and you can load the data. Okay, so it's purely the customer requirement. So just have a practice of this.
Sir, is there any is there any limit? Like it should, if it is this many number of within this number of records, then we can use SCD. Otherwise, if it is more than that limit, then we have to use lookup or something. Is there anything like that?
Anything like that in the sense we can't specify the limit, but as you specified like the number of records. Okay, so end of the day, compared to the SCD transformation and lookup transformation, so it's better to go for the lookup transformation. Okay, so SCD will take a longer time to identifying the records. Okay, and what we can say, and updating the records. Okay, real time, like we will have obviously millions of records. Okay, so source system we are getting means like we'll get millions of records. End of the day, it's better to go for lookup, not for SCD. Okay, so SCD is a performance killer. End of the day, the package performance will be decreased, but its lookup will give somewhat better than the SCD. So that's it. Like we can't specify this number of records or else up to this limit or something like that. So purely,
Okay.
and also like table structure as well. Okay, so table will have a different data types: integers, dates, characters, and in some cases like club in the sense like image kind of things, or else what we can say, uh, there are different data types. So when we are trying to use the SCD, so it will try to process each and every column. It will look for each and every column, right? So in that case, if you have images and if you have some blob type of things in Oracle, okay, when you develop SCD on top of that, obviously, the SCD, what we call club types and blob types, and whatever the description columns. Let us say go for customer reviews. To save the customer review, in some cases, like customer will keep on writing the review like some kind of paragraphs. So in that case, like the character, how many characters we need to save? 1,000 characters, 4,000. Like in some cases, like it will go for varchar of maximum size. Okay, so in that case, like if you are trying to build a SCD on top of those table, and if the table is having such a columns, then obviously it will take more time. Okay, but in case of lookup, what we do is in lookup we used to specify the condition. Okay, we write the query, select query. So based on the select query, instead of picking all the columns, what it will pick? It will pick whatever the necessary columns that will have that we need to comparison. So only those columns it will pick in the lookup, and whatever the columns that you want to update, you can specify. So it will reduce the amount of time to pick the values from those columns compared to SCD and lookup. So that's why we prefer lookup instead of SCD. So I worked for 5 projects nearly. So in those 5 projects, like we used like SCD is very less. Okay, so wherever we go for dimension changes, we used to go for a lookup only, maximum of the cases. So if it is required, then we go for SCD obviously. If it is type 2 or something like that, like, we'll go for SCD obviously. Or else, it is pretty much difficult to build SCDs from the SQL side. We need to analysis and we need to go for trial and error, and then we need to get the load the data. So that may causes some kind of data issues. So instead of taking risks on top of that customer's data, we'll go for standard development. That's
Okay.
okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Just have a practice, and we'll discuss in tomorrow's class.
Uh, Sir, so can I get any kind of exercises to practice these?
Uh,
Uh,
what is
like and maybe now or some like after finishing our transformations is also fine.
what do you want? I didn't get you, Sai.
No, I said I'm asking about exercises like if you give some kind of exercises so that I can practice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll plan. Sure, sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.